Celebrating 4 years of talk like you've never heard it before, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. We're GabNet, and we've got you covered live 5 nights a week. First Tuesday through Friday at 9:30 Eastern, it's The Exchange.
Harlan Ellison totally insisted that there were no sounds in space on Babylon 5. Watching it for 20 minutes will clearly show that there are sounds in space. So what the fuck are you pulling this out of, Mr. Harlan Ellison? That pretty much cemented the idea of who Harlan was in my brain.
Tuesday through Friday at 10 Eastern, join Alex Bennett on The Ramble.
You don't think Bill Clinton's a pervert?
No, I don't.
Go ahead.
No, I really don't. I think I think he's a man who let his dick talk for him. You know, I think he's a guy who was pursued by a young woman and should have said no, but he didn't. Now, the only woman I ever talked to that fucked Bill Clinton was Jennifer Flowers. She kept saying during the interview, you know, I really did have sex with Bill Clinton. And I asked her the question, I said, that's not what's important to me. What's important to me was he a gentleman? And she said, he was terrific. She said, every time we'd have sex, the next day he would call and see if I was okay. He never dodged my calls. If I wanted to call him, he was absolute gentleman.
Tuesday through Friday at midnight, The Intersection.
We now know that Trump doesn't hate all Democrats. He at least likes the Democrats who he perceives to be as crooked as he is.
Ah, wait a minute, ring that bell!
I mean, between Menendez and Blagojevich, you know, who we pardon.
If you like sports, we've got that too, with The Arena, Wednesday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern.
There's a lot of long-ass games come knockout round because they have to finish. So you have to play up to 120 minutes plus a penalty shootout. Kick.
Catch up on all the shows with our weekend flashback. All shows have the Citizen Panel, an exclusive concept of GabNet. It's new, it's daring, it's talk like you've never heard it before. Spotify has 180 million monthly users and access to 35 million songs and podcasts. Now, all those offerings are going to have to move over and make room for GabNet programming. Yes, at long last, Alex Bennett's Ramble, Damian Chaplin's Exchange, Jack Bishop's The Intersection, and even the franchise MC's Arena and Michael Snyder's weekly movie reviews will be fighting for space on this massive platform. Each day, the programs are updated so you can hear them on the Spotify app, available for all smartphones and game consoles. Or you can just go to Spotify on the web at spotify.com. So, give us a shot on Spotify. There's a 35 million to 5 chance we'll get people to listen to talk like they've never heard it before.
This is an Internet Network news break. IP Pingsley reporting. Our top story, the Great American Broadcast Network, otherwise known as GabNet, is now a TuneIn partner. TuneIn, the world's largest audio network, has joined forces with GabNet, the world's most innovative talk network. GabNet's partnership with TuneIn means that listeners now have 3 main ways to listen to GabNet programming: Gabnet.net, TuneIn.com, and the convenient TuneIn app for smartphones. To participate in the network's innovative citizen panels on GabNet programs, use Skype and type the handle GabNet Live, or call on your phone 347-352-0079. For more information on this network, its programs, and its hosts, log on to Gabnet.net. That's Gabnet.net. This has been an Internet Network news break.
Celebrating 4 years of talk like you've never heard it before, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network.
Hey everybody, how are you? Welcome. It is time for the Ramble. The Ramble goes on from now until midnight Eastern Daylight Time, and there was no Damien tonight. Damien had some kind of other crisis, so again, not another Damien show. Hopefully, he'll get back to a regular schedule soon. Because it's because your audience misses you, Damien. Okay, all right. Anyway,
the show must go on.
The show must go on. Oh wait a minute, I haven't even. I'm so upset. I didn't even show me, and I'm so upset I didn't even turn on the air sign.
Oh, you better be. You'll really be upset.
Yeah. Now we're here. Now we're here, and there she is. Just why I have all these things, all these buttons I have to push in order to get this show on the air, and they have to be done. They have to be done in a regular interval and everything. And in the middle of me doing that, you want me to go down here and get you a tissue.
And your point is?
Well, your point is, I have to do all that stuff.
Oh God, here we go again.
No, I can't do it. It's just not that simple. It's not that easy.
Blah 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 blah.
Oh, really? I'm getting it from you too, huh? Jeez almighty.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I got a note from a woman who wrote me on my Facebook page.
What's her name?
Her name actually is Sandra Lazinaro. And she says, what was the name of the wireless earbuds that folks were talking about on the show a few nights ago? I can't remember. Actually, I think I was mentioning the new ones I had bought that I was thinking about, that I was going to buy or that I'd sent away for. Or actually we use, you use them and I use them, they're called Sound Peats. And this is another product by Sound Pete. Let me put my camera on here so I can show people what I'm talking about. They come in a little box like this now, and look at this. Isn't this cool?
His new toy.
Look at this. Wait a minute. Let me see here. Let me put this up there. Isn't that cool? Yeah. And what they are is, and if I take them out, they actually try to synchronize with your phone. But you just put them in. Here, I'll show you. And they just look like this. Look. See? Now, tell me if that isn't better than those hash pipes.
You look like, those big black rings that some guys put in their ears?
Yeah.
Down here? That's what it looks like.
Let me see here. Let me turn it off a second.
No one can see you turning it on and off with the power.
No, they can't.
Alex.
They can see me doing that. Anyway, so that's what, and they're called, if you go online, it's not the Sound Peaks that have the wire. It's the
just tell her the manufacturer. She can find it online.
Wait a minute, I have the name of it. Where
it's on the box.
Here we go. They're called True Free Plus by Sound Peats. And these have about 35 hours on a charge, something like that. But I don't know what happens after you've charged them a lot, whether they're gonna last or not. Anyway, so Damien didn't do a show tonight, in case you were wondering where he was, and he's had some kind of problem out at his storage facility. And tonight the reason he couldn't do the show is the sheriff was bringing out the canines.
Smelling for dope, probably.
I don't know what they're smelling
probably.
For. Maybe somebody sent in a bomb threat or whatever,
or drugs.
Boy, he's had a lot of adventures at his place. I'm telling you. So, anyway, good luck, Damien. I hope everything's okay. I hope I hope you are well. Oh, I'm gonna sneeze.
Well, turn off your volume.
No, I don't have to sneeze yet. I'm trying to prevent from sneezing. No, I'll sneeze.
Yeah, but this is further away,
They can still hear it on your mic.
but not as loud as yours.
If you weren't here, I could sneeze. Anyway.
Well, I could go.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, let's see. At long last, our long national wait is over.
Yes, the report is in.
Yeah, the Mueller report has been turned into the Department of Justice.
He hand-delivered it to Barr.
Did he hand-deliver it?
Yeah.
Did he really?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Now, here's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering about Mueller, okay? Because let's face it, Mueller has a job, right? I don't know how much he gets paid to be the independent counsel,
A lot.
but it's probably a decent amount of
Yeah.
money, right? Okay. So does this mean on Monday the checks stop coming?
Believe me, there's probably 100 law firms that will take him in a second. He's probably gotten the offers already.
Yeah. Well, he's he's good at what he does.
Oh, he's good. He's honorable.
He's
everybody
really,
has said
you know
that.
something in this whole thing. You have to admit. What do you mean? I turned it on because you usually complain
Yeah,
that
but
it
just
is
turn
on.
it down one notch. It doesn't have to be all the way at the
Can't I
top.
have it at the height I
That's
want it?
too much.
Yeah.
No, he's honorable. He's very well respected, and in a case like this, he's not about to go over the line.
Yeah, but he has been very. You haven't heard a word from him.
Nothing.
Nothing. He just went and did his job, and no matter what Trump said in tweets or whatever, he never replied. He never said a word. He was a perfect gentleman about the whole thing and very professional.
And I'm sure at some time a book's going to come out way down the line.
Oh, he obviously he's probably gotten the offers already.
Yeah.
But that's it's a beginning.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, I totally respect him.
Yeah, yeah. I think we all do.
And I'm glad Republican.
Excuse me, except for Phil. Phil probably doesn't like him.
Yeah, but he's a Republican.
But he's a Republican. That's the other part.
So is
about
Rosenstein.
Is Rosen? Yes,
Yeah.
Rosenstein is Rosenstein.
Rosenstein is a Republican.
Is a Republican. So I mean, Trump should like all.
My biggest fear is what is the agreement that Trump made with Barr, and I'm sure they've had some, counsel together, just the two of them.
Well, I think that if this thing doesn't come out, okay, like it should, I think that there's going to be a great deal of yelling and screaming by the public.
Well, first of all, there's also 4 other U.S. districts that have cases against him.
Yeah.
And his kids.
Yeah, right. But, the New York Southern Court, the District Court of New York is the
D.C., Virginia, and a 4th one. I'm not sure where the 4th one is.
But anyway, the point is that who knows what's in the report? Supposedly there are no more indictments that are coming down because they weren't.
I think Mueller
recommended.
did a very smart thing, because anything that was outside of his boundary of what the closed boundary of what that was set, the small little Russian.
Well, the reason.
But I think because he never went out of it, what he did was he referred it all to the other districts.
Yeah, but
so he wasn't like just looking.
Yeah, none of these people who got convicted were convicted because of being complicit in complicit in the Russia thing, but they had information that they weren't willing to give up easily, and what he was ready and willing to do was arrest them on other stuff, and hey, you want to get off of that, start singing like a bird.
Oh, it's kind of like, who was the gangster that got arrested, that went to jail on tax evasion?
Oh, it's Capone.
Capone.
Well, they always got him on something else.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the next couple of days. I don't hold much chance that the Attorney General will release all of it.
Right. But the question is it's supposed to go to the President and Congress at the same time. I don't think that's going to happen.
Oh, I think the President has it already.
Probably.
Yeah, I'm sure he has it already.
It took a lot of his lawyers down to, Palm Beach.
Yeah. But you can bet Mueller did a thorough job, and now it's a question of whether his thorough job is going to be allowed to be seen.
Yeah.
That's really the problem.
Well, I think what they can do is subpoena Mueller at the congressional hearing.
Yeah, they could,
and it could come out that way.
Yeah, they could do that, and
it would be interesting to hear him. They could have it on an open,
yeah,
open session so we can hear it.
Right, but it's going to the next couple of days are going to be amazing. According to the Attorney General, he may release some of what he's going to release over the weekend.
Yeah, he's not. I mean,
no, I think he will.
It's a thick book.
You know why I think he'll do it over the weekend? If it's not good for Trump, it's a bad news day. It's a kind of if you release something on a weekend, it doesn't have quite the impact as if you do it on a Monday. And
everybody's up and ready for it.
Yeah, Andrea Mitchell's working, and she's got to have something to say, But it's we're all sitting here, I guess, waiting on tenterhooks to see what's going to happen and how it's going to play itself out.
It's just so sad to see what's become of this country.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like it right now.
Well, I something. Then you're a recent convert, because I was never that crazy about the United States of America or the way it comported itself with the rest of the world.
Well, it was never so mean.
Look, look at any period of time. You talk about, was there any time in my lifetime where things were worse than they are now?
When there wasn't a war.
Well, no.
Really? Think about it.
Well, wait, I'm going to say, in my time, I think things were just about as bad in the 50s with the House Un-American Activity Subcommittee and all that.
And then you have Watergate.
Well, that's later on.
Well, we're talking later on.
Yeah. But, I mean, when I think about, how bad things could be, I remember back to when I was a kid and the McCarthy era. And the House Un-American Activity Subcommittee.
But I don't remember the country being so split.
Oh, it was very split.
Not
back
like
then.
this.
Oh, yeah. You had those people who wanted, we got to get the communists. The communists are, they put a communist fear in us, much like Trump is putting a Mexican fear in his people's minds.
Yeah.
And it's pretty terrible all the way around. When you use what's the word I'm looking for? It's phobia, xenophobia.
It's going to be interesting when they start doing hearings on Ivanka and Jared using private servers and emails.
Oh, they won't do anything about that.
Yeah, I mean,
they're not going to do anything
about
about
that.
that.
3 years with Trump, and they're all still talking, lock her up, lock her up.
Yeah, for her having her own servers at home. And here were Ivanka and Jared.
Well, Jared's not even using it. He's using an open, I forget the name of it, but it's.
He's using his iPhone like you and I.
Yeah, but it's like a Facebook app, but it's not Facebook, but it's something like that. I can't remember the name of it.
Do you remember when Obama was so upset because he couldn't use his...
Because they took his BlackBerry away.
BlackBerry.
Yeah.
Do you know anybody who owns a BlackBerry anymore?
Well, there were two people that I worked with in Shanghai who refused to give them up, and finally one of them gave them up and went to the iPhone. They lost their big chance because they were there right from the start.
Well, Blueberry was very good.
Blueberry.
Blueberry. See, I'm out.
Plum was very good too.
I'm out of it. I'm out.
It's 10:19. Should I roll over?
No, not yet. Nobody's watching anyway.
What the fuck?
Yeah, because we're not arguing.
Well, I don't want to argue. I'm not feeling well.
I think I ought to give this whole thing up.
It's up to you.
I mean, come on. We don't have a huge listening audience, and I do it every night, and all it does is give me grief.
Source.
Yeah, I mean, there's one fire after another I have to put out. You know, you're here with me all day, and you hear me yelling from the office. Oh, fuck. I do hear it. Either it's audio that isn't working, or it isn't the video thing isn't working, or Skype has suddenly changed to another system. Here's a company though that I like, and we've been using them I got off. We used to do this show on Facebook Live,
Right.
And then I stopped doing it there because actually one guy, Forbin Colossus, is his name. Gee, we don't even have people chatting tonight. He was the one who said you should go over to what do you call it?
iTunes.
YouTube. And I didn't know how YouTube worked, and I was learning a whole new thing. But I went over to YouTube, and I dropped Facebook, and it's been really once. I think only once in all the maybe 2 years we've been using YouTube now that it went down.
Yeah.
Otherwise, always a perfect signal going out. Watch, it'll fuck up tonight. A perfect signal going out, no problems, right?
True.
Now, what happened was, like all these companies, YouTube figured we're going to come up with a better way. And I go to a thing called YouTube Creator, and that's where I work on all the stuff that gets the programs onto YouTube and apportions them to YouTube. And I put I post them on using that. And all of a sudden, I click on the thing where I usually go that says go to Creator or something, or go to whatever. And it didn't take me back to the same page. It took me back into a whole new page. It was their new Creator beta.
Oh, okay.
And they're forcing everybody to use it. But here is where the difference is between like fucking Microsoft with their Skype and YouTube. YouTube had a thing that said, if you don't want it to default to the new Creator,
push this button.
Click here, and then go there and ask it to,
keep it the old one.
And so now I'm back to the old one. That's why I like Google. I mean, why I like YouTube. They're good that way.
Is Google on YouTube?
Yeah, of course.
I didn't know that.
Of course. Bought it years and years and years and years ago.
What do I know?
But anyway, what I'm saying is that's what I like about the company. That I suddenly, I'm back with my old system, because I just didn't like, I'm an old fart, right? I didn't like the way the new one was laid out, because it was laid out in a way that was a little not as convenient.
Different.
But something, if a lot of people wrote them or complained and said, you shouldn't do this or you should do that, they would listen. Google listens. Microsoft doesn't. They got a bunch of people sitting there with their finger up their ass saying they're going to like the new Skype because it's great because we have bubbles, right? And everybody's going, yeah, ooh, we have bubbles, and we're going to force them to use it. And then, of course, there are people out there who just refuse to be stopped. They want to still use this.
Yeah, but there'll always be somebody that will figure out how to get around it.
Well, there are these guys. I'm using a Skype now that so far, knock on wood, I didn't wake up every morning. I expect to wake up and have it say, I'm sorry, I got to go to the new one. But apparently somebody did a little hack, and it works. It works day in, day out, day in, day out. And then I went on to this same site where I got this the other day, and they said, oh, by the way, we've also fixed the other version of it that they were cutting out. You can try that one too. It's not a problem. What it is that what Skype would do is you would go to Skype and they'd say, I'm sorry, you can't use this version. Unless you go to the new version, you can't use Skype.
It always reminds me how people go around the system to get things done. Wait.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of the early days of cable, when they would hang these long cable things out of apartment houses.
Yeah.
And you could go out of your window and hook up to it.
No, better yet, in the old days of cable, here's how stupid
But they hung them down.
No, well, here's how stupid the cable people were. At least in my apartment building down the village, and I had one of the first apartment houses that had cable in it, right? They ran the cable outside the apartment.
Yeah.
Around in the hallway.
Oh, there.
Oh, no, they didn't. Excuse me.
They dropped it from the roof.
They didn't do it in the hallway.
They
ran it through the closets. Okay, so now, like, you don't subscribe to cable,
but it's still going through your closet.
Well, you buy yourself a box because they were on the black market, and then you simply take a pair of cutting things and you cut into the cable, and then you put on the little things and put a tap on it, and now you've got cable.
Yeah, then they were also hanging them from
Well, the cable
rooftops.
company, after a while, realized that everybody was fucking stealing cable, right?
Yeah.
So they then rewired all the buildings.
And dropped them.
No. So the wire for the cable was in the hallway on the outside.
Well, I remember them dropping from the roof down by the
Oh,
windows.
that was, yeah.
And it would go into your window if you subscribed, and if you didn't, it would just go straight
but
down.
But if there was one going straight down, you just cut into it, put in the little taps, you know.
Then there was another deal for $300. I mean, you get your basic cable. That's it, just basic.
Oh, you had
wait.
Remember,
And then
there were 12 channels plus another 13 with letters on.
Right, but for $300, there was this guy in Florida that was able to hook you up to all the channels. All you had to do is pay the basic, and you had the $300 thing until maybe a year and a half later they figured it out and they recoded it. And then he would come up with another code and was able to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was amazing.
Same thing happened with the phone company. The phone company was very easy to
Well, they owned all the phones in the beginning.
No, but you could cut into the wires. You siphon off phone system because they came around at a time where they weren't technologically hip enough, and they also came around at a time where they figured people aren't going to steal from us. Well, by the 50s, people were stealing from them like crazy.
Left and right.
Right?
But they owned all the phones in those days.
And we found out
and you rented the phones.
Well, there was a
from
thing
them.
called there was a blue box and there was a black box. And the blue box, I think, was the simple one. And what it was a thing you could put between your phone and the jack. All right? And the way in which they knew that you were making a phone call was there was a change in the resistance on your line. Okay? And that told the phone company, oh, they're making a phone call.
There's a long distance call or something.
What the blue box did was maintain the resistance. So that when you picked up the phone, it didn't,
nothing happened.
Nothing happened. So you could then make long distance calls and they wouldn't be recorded.
Do you remember when there was local, regional, and long distance?
Oh, and here was the best one. There was a guy by the name of Captain Crunch. He called himself Captain Crunch because what happened was, in boxes of Captain Crunch as a toy, they gave you a whistle, right?
Yeah.
And this guy found that if you blew that whistle into the phone, it would allow you, I think, to make long-distance calls without the phone company knowing.
Blocked it or
it was
something.
going to turn something on. I can't remember exactly what it did. But this is how, what's his name? Not Steve Jobs, but his partner, Steve Wozniak, started by selling these whistles.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, but the guy was named Captain Crunch. And then they came out with the black boxes, and they were more sophisticated. But you could just completely cheat the phone company. Now they're so digital you can't. Okay, but boy,
I just remember the cable and how excited it was to be able to get all the channels for just paying that basic code.
I hated the cable company so badly that when I left New York, I took my cable box with me.
Did you?
Yeah. Somebody said, but you're stealing a cable box. I said, let them come to California and get it. I made this fucking cable company with Midnight Blue. They sold tens of thousands of subscriptions based upon me.
I'm going to roll over.
You're going to come over.
It's time.
Okay, hold on a second. Wait a minute. I pushed the wrong button. See, you do this, and then I push the wrong button.
For everything.
I push the wrong button, and then I have all kinds of problems, and I'm not well lately. I've got to stop taking these things to put me to sleep at night because they addle me. Okay, so anyway.
I'm not in there.
What?
I'm not in the picture.
Well, you're not in the picture because you haven't moved over enough. God, everything has to be her way. It has to be for her convenience. Boy, okay, we'll turn on the lines now. And see if anybody wants to call. Well,
does anybody notice I'm wearing Alex's hat?
Yeah, that's a very nice hat.
Yeah, it's one you got on the street.
Yeah. It's still one of the nicest hats I own, and it's like a $6 hat or something. Yeah. When you leave, give me that, and I'll put it on. It looks good on you though, because it's it's cute.
It's cute.
It's cute. Anyway,
Call in.
You know, I've been fooling around with an editing and making making files out of tapes that I took of my trip to Europe, and I suddenly realized it was 24 years ago.
Wow.
These tapes are 24 years old, and by the way, they hold up. They held up. Oh, guess who's calling?
First in.
Yeah, wait a minute. Hold on a second. I can't even figure this stuff out anymore. See, I'm just really addlepated. Hello. Let's see here. It takes Charlie's. It always takes him a while.
Charlie.
There he is.
Hey,
there
how
he
you
is.
doing?
Hey, Charlie.
Hey, hi guys.
Hi.
How you doing?
Okay.
Yeah.
It's these old cable lines in Arizona.
Do you remember those?
Oh wait, yeah. Oh, I remember the ones y'all were talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, it was so funny because you're really like
You
cheating.
got to talk into the
You're
microphone.
cheating the system.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think about half the people in my apartment complex just hooked into somebody else's cable.
Oh, everybody in my building did. There's probably one person paying, and everybody.
Yeah. Well, they learned how to take care of you. It's now all digital.
That's true.
So they in fact they can probably look in on you and see what you're doing. So how are you tonight, Charlie? You're the only one online.
Oh boy! Wow.
Well,
Okay.
wait a minute. I spoke too soon. Here comes he whose name should not be said, because if you say it 3 times, he will show up.
I heard. I listened to your.
Turn up your mic a little bit, would you?
Really?
Yeah, a little bit.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
How's that?
Yeah, that's much better. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well.
What?
You got an apology?
Oh God! Come on, take that off. Oh man, that's painful.
When I see that, I see a swastika.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gives me that same visceral feeling.
Yeah.
I told you I'm a Jew supremacist.
You're not a Jew supremacist. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you seem to think the people living in Israel are Jews, and they're not.
Oh. Okay, so you're going to make sure that you put them down.
They're Zionists.
They're not real Jews.
No, they're Zionists. There's
I
a
agree with
difference.
them.
There's a difference. Well, yeah, you don't even know what Zionism is.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. Who came up with Zionism?
Oh, enough.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Was it Ben Gurion?
No. Oh God.
I'm going to sleep.
See, he doesn't even
Night,
know.
everyone.
Okay.
Oh.
Have a good weekend, Margaret.
I got the
Thanks.
good hat now.
No, I got the good hat.
Put my hat over there.
Okay.
Would you, when you get a chance?
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. Well, you could give me my my communist Chinese hat, and I could wear that. That would drive him crazy.
All right.
Hello, Rob.
Hey, Alex.
No, come on. Who came? Who's the father of Zionism?
I thought it was Ben Gurion. Was he the first president of Israel?
No. He's not the person who came up with Zionism.
All right. Who was it?
Well, I mean, if you're such a Zionist, you should know.
I support the state of Israel, but tell me,
Oh, so you pledge allegiance to another country? Is that what you're saying?
if I wasn't so lazy, I'd be a dual citizen.
It's okay. Our president does too.
Not according to Mueller.
But anyway,
We don't know yet.
We don't know yet.
We don't know. They haven't told us what's in it yet.
No indictments. No collusion.
There's already been 50 of them.
Yeah, but most of them are all Russian oligarchs.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and you know how much of the information he's turning over to, like, the Southern District of New York and the Virginia District? And,
yeah, he told me.
Yeah, and those areas, a lot of he's turning a lot of information over to those people.
Well, we'll see.
And those are things that can't be pardoned by the president.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he's going to pardon anybody because he didn't do anything wrong.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see.
So he says.
So he says.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Did you see how forlorn Schumer looked today?
He isn't curious to find out who the father of Zionism is.
It doesn't matter. He's dead. But
you really don't know, do you? And you say, "Oh, I believe in Zionism."
I believe in the state of Israel. But tell me, you want to tell me?
His name is Theodore Herzl.
Ah,
so remember that.
I heard of him.
Oh, you heard of him? Okay.
Yeah. And it doesn't hurtle that much.
Everybody laugh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's time to laugh. I'm in a bad mood tonight, so don't fuck with me.
Oh, fuck you.
Huh? Fuck me, fuck you.
Fuck you.
Fuck. From Curb Your Enthusiasm, fuck you.
No, that was the one thing first thing I learned when I lived in New York, and that was the fuck you. Fuck me? No, fuck me, fuck you. Right?
They teach us that in kindergarten.
Yeah. So anyway, I bought those earphones. I showed you those earphones earlier that I bought. Mm-hmm. They're only like $32, right?
Yeah.
And they go right in your ears separately, right? And they're not like those fucking $160 Apple hash pipes that you put in your ears. Because it's not this thing hanging down. It just goes right in your ear. The sound
Do they fall out?
No. I could shake my head like crazy and they won't fall out. The hash pipes, you go like this and they're halfway across the street.
The Apple earphones do not fit my ear.
They don't
and
fit
they're
mine
uncomfortable.
Either. They don't fit mine either.
Yeah.
They don't fit anybody. They don't fit anybody's ear. These things, they are. Well, let me show you here a second, and then I'm gonna have to turn it off again because it turns itself on and pairs itself when you pull it out of the box here. But you see this? This is it right here. Wait a minute, let me show you. I showed it earlier to the audience. See that? See?
Oh, well, it looks like the same ones that have the wire on it that Rob has.
Oh, wait a minute. And then you just do this.
They're a little different model, right?
You do this. You do this.
Smart Beats or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
True
Sound
something.
Beats. Sound Beats. Yeah, this is their this is one of their brands. This is their True Free, I think it's called. And all you do, if I want to change this tune, I just double click on my ear. And you can listen to in mono and just have one in, or you can put both in and hear in stereo, but each one has a different Bluetooth channel. And look at them. Look at this. Do you see that? Is that falling out? You know. Yeah.
I got to tell you, I'm a little disappointed with these Etymotics.
I'll tell you, this is better than the Etymotics.
They come with a clip.
Yeah.
That you can clip on your shirt.
Yeah.
That clip just split in half on me.
Well, these are Etymotics I use here on the show.
I got the Etymotics without the clip and without the thing.
Can I tell you this?
The ear.
Can I tell you this? The sound on these things. Let me turn this thing off here.
Yeah.
Okay, because it turns itself on when I pull it out of the thing. I love them. No, these are better. They sound better than the Etymotics. They sound much better, and they're so much cheaper. I mean, these are worth $32, and if you want to get ones that last for 55 hours on a charge, they're $49. Okay, then there was one cheaper that did about 15 hours on a charge, and the sound is just, I got to tell you, it is amazing. It is just amazing, and the sound on these is even better than the sound on the other ones that I have. But the Sound Peats are terrific. You have a Sound Peats, Rob? Did you say?
I have a pair of Sound Peats. In fact, I had Phil make the mold, for them. I really love these.
Yeah. How do they fit? Oh, yeah,
they fit great. Yeah, they fit great.
But those aren't the Sound Peats, though, are they? That you
no, these are the Etymotics.
Yeah. I have the Etymotics also, and I made custom ear molds, so they fit in perfectly.
Yeah, well,
They're very comfortable. Most comfortable I've ever worn. Took me a little bit getting used to them.
Yeah. Did you clean them up with the ear
gene?
gene?
I'll tell you something. I find the sound Peats the easiest I've ever used. I could wear them for hours, and they don't bother me.
So I was getting a headache from the Sound Peats.
Really?
That's what made me contact Phil. Yeah, I wore them from like 1 in the afternoon until 9 at night on a flight back from Orlando. Sounds like a long time to fly to Orlando, right? But I had to get to the airport early, and I had them in all day, and I start getting a headache. I'm telling you, these custom ones, man, you could just wear them forever. They're awesome.
Yeah, and if you take a little bit of the ear gene and clean them because they're new, just lightly apply the ear gene to the mold, and then use a little ear gene in your ear. After a few times, it'll even be more comfortable.
Okay.
Well, for the Etymotics, I don't know which tips you were using, but I used the sponge tip.
The sponge tip would compress and would get hard.
No. Here, how you use them,
and it was itchy.
You don't put it in. No, you don't put them directly in your ear. What you do is you take them, and you squeeze like this on the foam, and then you put it in your ear. And while it's in there, it expands and fits into the ear canal very nicely. I've tried the other way with the Etymotics, where you stick this thing all the way into your fucking eardrum, in order to cut the sound out. Have you ever tried those? I tried it like that. The other ones, Rob.
Oh, the ones that have the fans on them, or the
yeah. And only once was I able to get them in properly. You know, supposedly, if you can get those things in properly, it completely seals off the ear. I mean, that was the idea behind the Etymotics. They work that you're sealing the ear out. That's why this thing, closes up, opens up. And I actually have to get a package of them. I have to put them on new ones to get.
If you go to a local audiologist and have them make some impressions,
I don't need it
with your Etymotics.
I don't need. But I don't need it.
Oh, you don't know what you're missing.
I don't need it. I really don't need it, Phil. I'm telling you. I find that the Sound Peats, the stuff that just the ear thing that comes with them is perfect. It's so comfortable. And then these things are amazing because there's no way they're coming out of my head. The only argument I have about them is, let's say I'm out and I want to take them off. I have to take them and put them in my pocket. Well, I want to make sure that I know where they are, and both of them are. I really would like it if they had magnets on these so they would stick together while they were in your pocket or somewhere else.
Rob's other ones have magnets.
No, those have a magnet on the bottom on either side so that you can kind of wear it,
around.
Yeah. And I have those. I have two different types of those. And that's terrific. But I wish these had magnets just so that when I'm not using it, I have it in my pocket, But they probably figure you just carry the little case with you and just drop them in the case when you're not using them and put them in your pocket.
Rob, how did the molds turn out on the other ones with the magnets?
I don't use them nearly as much because that's when I travel.
Yeah.
I only use them when I travel, right? And how often do I travel? I'm either in the car. Yeah. I have to be on I have to have a need for them when I'm driving or when I'm someplace not around something. And so I haven't really used them except to try them on.
Well,
I had the lab send them directly to you because I was in the Bahamas.
This is really interesting. But I use earphones a lot. I mean, I use them when I go to the gym. I use them when I'm just walking down the street and going into stores or taking the subway or whatever.
I would too if I were in a city. I hop in the car and the radio goes on.
Years ago, I got used to using my iPhone, iPod on the train, and I suddenly loved it because all the horrible noises of the city disappeared in front of me.
I used to use that little box before there was an iPod. What was the name of that? There was there was a company out there that had like
Oh, the
first MP3 player.
Yeah, I'm
right.
trying to remember what the name of that company was.
It had a big round disc in the front.
No, Apple had a big round disc in the
No,
front.
no. This disc didn't move the way the Apple one did. It just had like, buttons that you pressed. Oh, what was the name of the original?
That was the original way the iPod worked. Is that you just had these buttons on either side on a circle, and then what he learned how to do was to make it so that you could kind of turn. You didn't turn the wheel. You just noticed your finger moving, and that was the real breakthrough.
Yeah.
Somebody getting their car busted into?
What?
You hear a car alarm?
No.
No.
No? Well, maybe it's in my area.
Could be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Your plugs in your ears are too good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was hearing it through the microphone.
But anyway, these sound peats, I can't recommend enough. I mean, I had one of the most fussy people about this, Albert here. And Albert said, and I said, "Oh, I love these sound peats," and I was using, and he said, "I don't get those because none of those headsets have any real good sound." And I said, "Put these on," and he put them on, and he went, "That's pretty damn good."
There are those Etymotics that cost like $1,200-$1,300
Oh, well,
that have like
that.
20 some odd woofers in them or something.
I've never seen one.
I've seen them. Rock musicians have them, and
But all I'm saying is I loved the Etymotics for a while. In fact, the guy who turned me on to him was Albert, and he said, "What?" He says, "I don't know anything better than the Etymotics." And I said, "Here, try these." And these, I said, "You know how much that cost me?" He said, "Well," I said, "It cost me $24." And he went, "What?" He said, "The sound is terrific," and it is. Especially when you consider it's a Bluetooth as well, So,
I just Googled it. Diamond Rio.
Diamond Rio, yes. Oh my God! And it was
Diamond Rio.
But there was a company that made it that had a name that we all would remember, I think, and it was, what was the company? The Diamond Rio.
The Rio PMP 300 from Diamond Multimedia was introduced in September of 1998.
Wow.
Really? Yeah.
21 years
They're
ago.
probably kicking themselves in the ass right now that they were just that close.
Yeah,
that's because they didn't make them in white.
No.
If they made it in white, it would have sold.
Well, there was something that had to be said about Steve Jobs and the fact that he knew how to finesse a product.
Yeah.
There was a style to the Apple devices, still is, that there isn't with other technology.
Well, he finessed the product. He said, if I had one, what would I like to have in my pocket? What would I like? How would I like it to work?
Right.
And then he didn't know how to build this shit. He just said to his people, now go ahead and build it. And they did.
And he browbeat them.
And the reason why Apple
this is shit.
Why Apple is not doing as well as it used to without him is because he knew how to finesse a product, and he wasn't happy till it was the way he wanted it to be. And I've known a few other people like this in my lifetime. My friend Paul Montgomery, who ran Play Incorporated till he died, was one of those guys. He and I would sit around and we would say, well, what do we want to, what should we build now? And he would always say, I'd like something that would do something, right? And then he would go look at his engineers and he would go, build it, make my dream come true. And he would make the dream come true. They would do it for him. Let me get myself out of Tony's face here. There we go. Minimize myself. There we go. And so really the great visionaries haven't been the people who could build the thing. They were the people who could say, this is how I want the thing to work. This is what I would like it to do. Gee, wouldn't it be nice if I had a phone where, it had a screen I could just touch and make it do, and then he would say to his people, make it so.
if Jobs was anything, he was good at finding talent. I used to know this guy that owned a store.
You always
in Palo
know
Alto.
a guy who knows some guy who knew a guy who knew some guy.
It was called the Minimal Space, and they sold furniture, high-tech looking furniture. So this guy worked in that store. Jobs went in there, hired him to set up office space for Apple, and this was in the real early days. And so he ended up working for Apple, setting up the ergonomics of offices.
What he knew more than anything, more than anybody, was how to finesse a product. In other words, how he wanted a product to work for him. And
materials meant something to him. He would look for materials, certain kinds of glass and metal that he wanted to make, he thought were artsy and made a product feel good. Yeah. And he did that with his stores. That's why his stores were designed the way they were.
Yeah. But I don't think that impetus is there at Apple any longer.
No.
I think what they are doing is they're trying to imitate what Steve would do.
They're also continually just updating the existing products. I don't see any new products really.
But they're trying to get into streaming service. It looks like that's what it sounds like. They're trying to compete with Netflix.
Yeah, but that's just a sidebar thing with them. No, I mean they keep coming up with better iPhones, and with the newer stuff.
But not better enough that, I don't know, maybe it's because we're getting numb to it, but not better enough that I feel like I need to have it. There's nothing on these phones at this point where I go, man, that I have to have, except the two lines. That made me buy this new phone. Otherwise, the last phone I bought was an iPhone 5. Every other one I bought used as when my phones died, I bought them on eBay.
Yeah.
The iPhone 5 was the best looking one.
No,
it was smaller, but it was definitely the best looking.
I think the X is the best looking so far.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, who can tell anymore? Because now you got to have a case, and who knows?
Well, I mean, you do ruin it with the case because it is edge to edge, and you don't notice that when you just put an edge on it,
Right.
It looks nice.
And I think the first time it was a problem was when the antenna didn't work. I don't remember if that was the iPhone 5.
That was the 4.
Yeah, and you had to get a case.
Yes, and they sold those. They gave you those. They had those border cases.
Yeah,
that was just the border.
A strip of plastic.
Yeah, you filled out a little thing. There was a little app. You filled that out, and they mailed that to you.
Yeah.
What was the one recently? The batteries weren't lasting long on, so that if you had to replace the battery.
They had a
the Apple Watch
thing in their update that would make the phone sort of obsolete, and it would lose.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. That's not what I'm talking about.
Well, they had the battery.
They had something. They had something where there was a battery issue, and you could come in and you could get a new. It wouldn't last as long. So for $29, they would replace the battery or something.
I got a new one in my 6S.
Yeah, and I had my last Apple Watch was the battery. All of a sudden I noticed that the case was starting to come undone. It was whatever, and it turned out it was the battery, and that it had problems and was expanding and pushing the case apart.
Could that have exploded? Like the ones on the airplanes and stuff, and burned you like they do in some of the
Apple
phones?
Watches never burned. No. But it did have a tendency to, I forget what they call it. Batteries sometimes can expand, and they were expanding their particular battery. So I went down. They put a new one in for me for free. Even though the watch was over a year old when it happened. But that's that's a kind of thing they have problems with their phones. There's no question about it, But they're still stylistically, there's nothing better, And,
what I wonder, Alex? He died young, Jobs, right? Did he even hit 60?
No. No. It's like 58, I think.
I wonder if anybody knows what he had on his plate, like what he would have liked to have done if he had any other type of ideas.
Maybe he died. Maybe he died because he ran out of ideas. That could be too.
What they need is an iPhone that's a flip phone or like a clamshell kind of thing.
They have the flip phone.
I'm tired of pocket dialing.
Wait a minute. Samsung already has one.
Yeah, but I want an iPhone that's, I want to be in that realm.
I'm sure if it's popular enough, Apple will do it too. It's a clamshell.
My favorite phone was a Nextel. The 1000.
But it's a clamshell that when you open it up has a seamless screen.
Oh, I saw that on one of those tech shows. That is pretty neat.
Yeah.
I think the next best thing is going to be wearables again. More wearables. Remember with the Google Glasses? They were way ahead of their time. They tried something. I think it was a little bit too early, but I think wearables are going to be huge.
You know what it was is it got a bad rap because people thought you were filming them, and they got angry.
Yes.
And it was a social thing.
They had every reason to fear that because you could be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You absolutely could.
Well, what's the difference? You're in public. Why can't you film them?
Yeah, but
you're not allowed to film in public.
Sure you are.
No, you are not, Phil. I'm telling you now. I know about this.
Okay.
If I were to go down, there are certain situations where I can videotape people.
Right.
But I can't do it in a indoor venue because that's
not in an indoor venue.
It's a private venue. Outdoors, right. I can do people walking down the street, but if I put it in a commercial, I've got to blur out their faces.
Right, or get a release.
So there are very few places you can actually take video and use it
on the street
because you shot it on the street. That's
if it's news, you don't have to blur out a face.
Well, that's news, Phil.
If it's journalism,
yes, but how do I justify that what I'm doing is journalism?
It's very simple. There's something else involved, but you don't have to justify it.
Yes,
journalism.
You do have to. No.
You can video and photograph in public.
Phil, I'm telling you now.
Anytime.
Any of the photographs that you have where you have pictures of people,
I can't sell them commercially.
You can't sell them commercially. Well, there's your answer right there. And maybe you shot them outdoors.
Yeah, but I can display them. I can print them. I can. If
somebody wanted to sue you for just even using their image in a show, let's say, where you weren't making any money, they could probably still sue you.
Unless it was news.
Unless it was news, and in that case,
like the Magruder tapes.
In many,
that's news.
Huh?
The Magruder film.
Zapruder.
Yeah, I think he started Zionism.
Huh? Yeah.
Magruder.
It was Ben-Gurion who shot Kennedy.
No, it was Ted Cruz's father.
Yeah, but anyway.
Well, that was funny that he called him. He was in on a conspiracy.
Yeah, but anyway, the point I'm making is that it used to be a lot easier, but as time has gone on, we've become a very litigious society. When we did Midnight Blue, we got releases on everyone, and if we were shooting on the street and we were shooting just people walking down the street, we would sometimes get releases on them if we could really see them. And the reason we would do that is because of the nature of our program. They could complain that they were being used in porno, or whatever.
What about the photos that you own to? There were street photos and so forth that gal left you.
What street photos, Phil?
Well, I thought, she wasn't like Meyer, the Vivian Meyer.
Well,
I guess
she may have some stuff she took at parties and things like that. Like I just ran into one of the photographs the other day of Andy Warhol. But the fact of the matter is that most of the stuff that she did, at least that I'm going to use, she did for Midnight Blue, and every one of those shoots, we had model releases signed like crazy. I mean, if somebody sneezed in the room, we had them sign a model release.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know where those model releases are now, but people will say to themselves, well, I did sign a model's release on that, so. And then I think...
Isn't there a statute of limitations on any of that? Those things are 40, 50 years old.
Well, I mean, I'm counting most of those people are dead and can't sue me, But I mean, they did sign releases, and Midnight Blue had the releases, and I don't know where they are now, but I could say they signed releases. And also, there's another situation where I think she probably somewhere, we haven't looked through the whole thing, probably has a file full of releases herself for stuff she did, on her own. Whatever, But I've asked myself that question, and as I remember, everybody, whoever was on Midnight Blue, signed a release. At least while I was there. I don't know what they did after I left. Hello, Patrick.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Patrick.
Yeah, I'm Patrick. I'm a Star Wars collector. And I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. How do you feel about?
Hi, Patrick.
How do you feel about Star Wars now being bought up by who was it? Disney.
Well, I'll be honest with you. There's only one advantage that I see now that the Fox Corporation has been bought up by Disney is the fanfare music at the beginning of the Star Wars movies will return. That's the only thing, because the last couple of Star Wars movies that Disney has done have the 20th Century Fox music fanfare at the beginning. And to me, that always, no matter what movie it was, whether it's Star Wars or not, if it was a Fox movie and I heard that, Star Wars always came into my head.
Yeah, but those aren't Fox movies anymore.
Right, but they will more than likely insert that music because
they can't, because that's 20th Century Fox.
Yeah, but Disney owns it.
No,
I thought that's what just happened.
Oh, yeah, yes, you're right. They bought Fox, right?
Yeah, so they can insert that back into.
See, they bought up so much I can't remember what they bought up. By the way, look at what I've done here. Tell me which is cooler. Wait a minute. Let me do something here first. Oops. No. Cancel there. Now I want to move over here. Okay. Now you see I have Mickey. Can you people see that? Can you see Mickey?
I see it.
Over
it's
here,
a little overexposed.
Over here to the people who are watching. In fact, let me just go to my screen here so that they can see this. But I want to know what you think is cooler. Okay, there is Mickey.
I have a Mickey too.
There's Mickey. Okay.
Yeah.
Oops. A minute. Hold
on.
on. There's Mickey. All right.
Yeah.
Now that's one Mickey. Now let me show you the next Mickey that I have. I took another way of showing Mickey. What do you think of that? See the difference? It's the black.
See your knuckles.
It's the black and white Mickey.
Oh yeah.
I like black and white.
Huh?
Yeah,
Isn't that
I think
cool?
traditional might be better.
I think I'm going to keep it in black and white because I like it that way. Okay, but anyways, I have Mickey in black and white now.
Retro Mickey.
Retro. It's the same Mickey as in color, but he's in black and white. And they call it classic Mickey, right, Mickey?
It's 11:03.
Yeah.
I mean, I have it out.
Sorry, but I think Mickey sounds perverted.
Mickey. Hey, Kevin.
Put him in your pocket.
How you doing? What are you going for, Tony? We don't need to see your toys.
Oh, you want to see my? Look, gosh, you have Mickey. Look, I got it from Disney for my mother.
Oh, okay. All right.
Did your mother play with it?
Is he in the case?
Collector's item.
Yeah. How much did that Mickey? How much did that Mickey cost you?
I think this is a couple $100 bucks. This one. I got one.
Oh, really? Well, I got you beat. This Mickey's worth $600.
So. Not if you want to resell it.
Yeah. But anyway, so let's get to the guess the elephant in the room. I don't know. We had a little. We have word now that Mueller has completed his investigation and turned his findings over to Barr, the Attorney General, who is now, it's now up to him how much of it he wants to release. What do you think is going to happen to it?
I think it's going to be pretty transparent.
I don't care what you think. What do the other people think? We know what you think. We know what lame excuse you're going to give. But the question is,
we'll see you apologize when he's exonerated.
Yeah,
it's going to get washed for the next week, and we'll get what we get.
Yeah, and then there'll be a fight into the courts, and eventually we'll get to see it all.
Did you see how forlorn
was the case closed?
Forlorn Schumer looked today.
Well,
No.
we're going
Why would
to ask for it.
That's okay.
No, because I didn't see him on any shows anywhere, and people saying, "Look how forlorn he is."
Well, I saw him, and I thought he was.
He always looks that way.
He always has those glasses.
Anytime you wear your glasses like this.
do the glasses. That's what he does. Yeah, that's him. It's like he just looks.
And Lindsey Graham is down in Mar-a-Lago under the desk with Trump, too.
Yeah.
He's going, oh, okay, whatever you say, Donald.
Didn't he get pissed at Donald Trump during the campaign because Trump gave out Lindsey Graham's phone number on his cell phone?
Yeah, he got pissed, and then he blew him, and then he got pissed, and he blew him, and then he got pissed, and he blew him. So it's off and on. Mm-hmm. It's got an off and on relationship.
Yeah. Rob, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think they
going to wind up in the courts?
You don't think we're going to see what it says?
No, not without it going to court. You're going to get a synopsis of what they want you to say. And of course, you're going to get immediately from the White House, see, no collusion. See, everything is a sham. See?
Because it's true.
Well,
and all the Democrats will say,
hold on a second. I'm trying to call somebody back here.
And then we'll see what happens with all the information that Mueller turned over to the Southern District of New York.
Yeah. Brian Neary, if you're listening, I'm calling you back. So you can call the show now if you want to. There we go. Wait a minute. Brian?
Brian, turn off your audio.
Brian.
When you open it up.
Brian, can you hear us? Can you hear us?
I saw that on one of those tech shows.
Brian! Can you hear us?
This thing is gonna
okay, well, goodbye, Brian.
I know Brian. I'll text him and let him know.
Tell him he's a moron.
He's actually a very nice guy.
You just did.
Oh, here he is again.
Seconds from now.
Brian, are you there, Brian? Brian, are you there?
Yes, Alex.
You have to turn down your audio because.
I got it.
Yeah. Okay. Now show us your picture, and we'll be ready to go. If you want to show us your picture, otherwise we're going to take a look.
Click on the camera thing at the bottom.
Yeah.
Bottom.
Yeah. You say you know this guy, Phil?
Yeah.
Yeah, we chatted a little bit, and we know some common friends. So.
Yeah. Brian's got a beautiful car. Is it Cadillac? Like a 58 or something?
Yeah, 57.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
So does my grandmother. Anyway, Brian, can you turn? Do you see where there's a camera on the Skype there?
Yeah.
There you go. There you are. Okay, now we got you. Yeah. Newbies, we always have to treat with kid gloves because they can't figure the whole thing out. It's like a big mysterious world they're in, So, yeah. Let's see here. If you call Brian Neary, your current call will be put on hold. Well, that's no longer important.
That's old business.
Yeah, it's old business. No, but here, our question is: I mean, what's going to happen with the whole report? I mean, is it going to be swept under the rug?
Nah, the Democrats will never let that happen.
Really?
It's going to be a fight to the finish, and they're going to subpoena everything. It'll come out. It may take after the next election for that to happen, but it'll all come out.
Yeah.
Trump says he wants it released.
Just like he wanted to talk to Mueller.
Yeah, but it's going to be, well, he didn't, but it's going to be up to Barr to release it. And I think Barr is a genuinely good guy.
I think
just
he's
like
a
Mueller.
stooge. He's a stooge.
No way. He's got a very good reputation.
Scott Boddicker wrote, and Alex wonders why no new people want to call in.
Well, it's because you beat him up, you know.
Well, I mean, it's just, it's frustrating for me because we try to do a show here, and then we have to deal with some kind of technical problem that somebody has, and they can't hear us because they got the audio up, and we're yelling and screaming, and
Well, why don't you just say "get off my lawn"?
That's possible. Hey,
I was surprised he said turn up.
Brian, get off my lawn. So what do you do, Brian?
So I'm in San Jose, California.
Yeah.
And big fan of yours from Live 105 Days.
Yeah.
When you did all your breakfast with Bennett's and everything, we used to call in to get the tickets.
Right.
And it would be like first in line. So when you guys came in and you saw those crazy kids first in line, that was me. So though I'm in biotech. So I have a company that I work for a company 15 years now, and we test for infectious disease using DNA. So we use swabs, put them into a cartridge, and then we do the testing from there. So I've been there since it started.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah,
good
stuff.
So, you cured any diseases yet?
No, we just do detection. So, but for flu season is huge for us. So. We do about 58 million cartridges a year worldwide, global. So it's pretty big.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
Is it exciting work?
It's exciting work. So I'm in manufacturing. So when we first started, I was employee 75. We have over 2,000. And then another company acquired us, really big company. So yeah, it's really exciting.
Did you have some of that early stock or whatever?
Yes.
Oh, good for you. Good for you.
I live in California in San Jose, so I have to.
But are you rich enough now you can move to San Francisco?
No, I just visit.
But Brian, you drive a 70-year-old car. You know?
Yeah, so
can't get anything newer.
I saved a bunch of tickets and stuff like that. So I have a bunch of like Breakfast with Bennett tickets and some of the Christmas shows and Robert Schimmel and a bunch of those tickets. So pretty cool to have those ticket stubs and stuff. Good memories.
Wow. Every now and then people send me stuff or send me pictures of stuff they have.
Yeah.
And so I have one person that's now sending me a lot of clips of old shows from WPLJ in New York.
Oh, I'd love to hear those.
Well, I've been thinking about putting some of them on the air.
You should do it.
Do they get them like that sound check site?
Well, I have one from the day that Nixon resigned that was sent to me.
On PLJ?
Yeah, on PLJ, yeah.
Wow.
I'm sure I'll have another tape of the day that Trump resigned. So it's going to be a complete set. I'm looking at
side by side. There you go.
Yeah, I'm planning on getting. But I just don't know what it's going to hold. The Mueller findings, but I think that whatever he reports, you can count on an honest appraisal of it. And just remember, Phil, when you want to put him down, he is a Republican. Yes, Patrick.
I'm not putting him down.
Oh, you're always putting
he was doing a job. I just think it was a witch hunt and it wasn't necessary.
Oh, okay. Was the Clinton impeachment thing a witch hunt?
Of course not.
Yeah, I guess it was too.
Oh, okay. All right. As long as
because what did they find? They found a blowjob.
Yeah, they found a blowjob, and then maybe we'll find a blowjob here for all we know.
Not according to the dossier.
I didn't get the creeps when I thought of Clinton getting a blowjob from Monica Lewinsky because she looked like she had really blowable lips. But I would get the creep factor came in when I thought of him fucking what's her name?
Jennifer Flowers.
No, not. I'm off of Clinton. I'm on to Trump. Just the idea of anybody.
Oh, the hooker, the dancer?
They're not hookers.
Stormy Daniels.
Yeah.
She's not a hooker. She's a stand-up comic.
Now she is.
Yeah. But the idea of anybody blowing Donald Trump with his little, what they have described as a mushroom dick, it just is very upsetting to me emotionally. Yes, Patrick.
I just can't imagine Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez leaving that alone. I think if anybody has a hard-on for Donald Trump and that investigation, it's going to be her. And she's going to be the one that's going to be pushing it. Even if the old guard, so to speak, doesn't want to be rattling too much before the elections, the new chick is going to try to push her weight around.
I think you're giving her less credit than you should. To begin with,
credit.
No, less credit, really. I don't think she's that stupid. In fact, you got to appreciate something, that she's new at what she's doing. She studies and reads every document of everything that she's going into a committee to hear, so that she can ask the right question. Yeah, I heard a story today about the fact that she is famous for for the night before reading all the materials that she has to read to be fully informed about what she's going to be going into committee on. I think you should have a little more respect for this woman. They don't want to like her because she's a toughie,
and her misappropriation of the $875,000 in funds.
Where was this?
She's got her own problems.
Phil, where did you hear about this?
What do you mean where?
Where did you hear about that?
It's all over the news.
It is? Really? How come I haven't heard about it?
Well, that's because you got your head in the sand.
I see. Okay.
With all those Democratic
Rob,
sites
did you hear? Did you hear anything about this, Rob? Did you hear anything about it, Patrick? Did you hear anything about it, Brian? How about you, Charlie? Did you hear anything about it? Well, I'm not going to ask, Tony, because it's not a cartoon character. Did you hear about this, Kevin? You're up.
Yeah, I read it on the Drudge.
Did you read it on Drudge?
Yeah.
Well, Drudge is nothing more than a site that directs people at other sites.
It directs people to Newsmax, yes.
Yeah.
New York Times, New York Daily News.
Wait a minute, hold on a second. Shut up. Rob's getting ice.
Okay, New York Daily News. Campaign may have funneled money to her boyfriend. 800 and campaign laundered money through a PAC to pay her boyfriend.
And what is the source on this?
New York Daily News. Politics section.
Yeah. Well, they're
CNN. Surprise, surprise, emerging campaign finance scandal. AOC isn't as clean as she... Well, let me get past the headline.
Well, I like her.
AOC could face jail time for campaign shenanigans. That's the New American.
What's the New American?
Just because you shoved your head in the sand doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
It doesn't mean that it does exist because these people are saying it does.
Okay.
No, I'm like just we don't have time to waste on this, Phil. Yes, Patrick.
Oh, you just don't want to hear it.
No, I want to be able to, when I jerk off to thinking about her, to be able to do it without the image of her. The only part about my jerking off to this story would be that she might wind up in jail and then be in prison garb, and that's kind of sexy,
Yeah, no, I like the Catholic schoolgirl look.
Yeah. But anyway, yes, Patrick.
It wasn't that I wasn't giving her enough credit. Mm-hmm. I was merely indicating that her being new, coming off like bossy and trying to take over is what I see. And I see that as how this court will likely get fast-tracked, maybe a little more quickly than what Rob is thinking. I don't disagree with Rob. I think it's probably going to come out in dribs and drabs.
Yeah.
But I think perhaps Nancy Pelosi, if it doesn't have anything that is amazingly, ready to impeach him, she may want to soft pedal it and push it back until after the election. And AOC may want to just keep pushing it. So that's what I was getting at.
I don't know that AOC would necessarily do that. I think she might say something to the effect of, I think we should do something about it, but leave it at that and not stonewall Nancy Pelosi on the whole deal. I think Pelosi's stance on the thing was the perfect stance to take, and that was, no, we're not looking at impeachment as an answer to all of this, unless something comes out that makes it so compelling that we have to do that. And I think that was an appropriate response on her part. And I think it was good of her to take the heat off the Democrats of saying, oh, well, you know what they're trying to do? They're out to get the president. Okay? This takes that kind of talk off the table, that they're out to get the president.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you. But I just see Alexandria as trying to make her mark early, and she is in many ways. And I just see her as, she may not go against Nancy Pelosi to, where she would embarrass her in public, but I could see her pushing and pushing and pushing just to get her name out there and to be a force.
And
she got quite a bit of, I won't say power yet, but everybody knows who she is. So,
could it be, Patrick? And give me this maybe, that if she has a problem, it's that she's new and she is, what could we call it? Enthusiastic. Okay, she wants to do her job. I mean, the fact that she does do all this studying before she goes into a committee and has to ask questions, which I'm sure nobody on the panel has done the night before. They had somebody else read the material to them or to give them a briefing on what was there. She's ready with the proper questions. In fact, if you looked at the questions she was asking in a hearing recently, what hearing was she at that she recently asked questions? I'm trying to remember who it was with. She had good questions. She so I think she's enthusiastic about what she's doing, and I think she jumped in with both feet. She also had a secondary problem. She is a terribly attractive woman, all right? And the press loved jumping on her as a news item because they could show her. Okay.
I think most guys would want to jump on her too.
Yeah.
So.
What I'm saying is,
she reminds me of Rosario Dawson. The one that's doing Cory Booker.
Well, the point is, yes, they're both ethnic, Phil. The point is that she's gotten a lot of attention, more because of how different she looks as a politician than most female politicians, and that has put a lot of spotlight on her for everything that she does. If she said the things she's saying and she didn't look as good as she looked, and I'm talking sexist here, folks, but
she's
didn't look as
26
good.
years old.
Didn't look as good as she looked. She's 29.
29.
Yeah. Wrong again. Everybody have a drink. 29. But she was. If she wasn't as good at looking as she is, she probably wouldn't get as much attention paid to everything she says that she does. But she stands out. I mean, when they were there at the State of the Union address, and you had all the women in white standing there, she was there, and she just stood out from the rest of them. Just like, she looked terrific. So that's why I think you're hearing a lot of things about her, and everybody's trying to get stuff on her, you know, because she is a flavor of the month when it comes to the press. But how about Cory Booker, huh? He's doing okay. Do you want to be? What if you don't make it for the presidency? Who gives a shit? I'm going with Rosario Dawson.
Yeah, really.
It was like Slayton used to have a joke, but he always told it as truth, even though it wasn't. He says he was walking through the. He was walking through the marina one day in San Francisco, and he bumped into Joe DiMaggio, and he said, "How do you feel about?" And I'm trying to remember which ball player it was. Is going to beat your record. It looks like he's going to beat your record. And he says, "Why should I care? I fucked Marilyn Monroe." Yeah.
Yeah. I had a
So why should I care? I'm fucking Rosario Dawson.
Yeah. A friend of mine worked on that movie Rent, and Rosario Dawson was in it, and he was the chiropractor on the set. And he was giving everybody adjustments, and he adjusted Rosario Dawson. And he told me that she was really built, you know, that she was just a phenomenal body.
Yeah. But she also happens to be very bright, very smart, right up Cory Booker's political alley. I mean, they both share the same. In fact, she may be more lefty than he is, you know. And somebody was saying today, I was watching TMZ, and they were talking about the factor that if Cory Booker, say, decides, you know, runs, this whole romance he's having with Rosario Dawson could help get him nominated, just simply because it's going to get press everywhere, not only on the news programs, but it's also going to get him press in, like, People magazine. And that you know, the question is, if he were to become president of the United States, he would be a bachelor president, unless, of course, he marries Rosario Dawson, in which case she'd be the first lady. And in my opinion, she'd look a hell of a lot better than that tramp Melania. So anyway,
that's not nice.
That's skank Melania Trump.
Yeah.
There's nothing on Melania Trump that wasn't store-bought, okay? Her tits were store-bought. Her cheeks were store-bought. She's on her 10th facelift. One more, she's going to have a beard. You know, I mean...
It probably looks like my mother without the man work.
I read something earlier today that said that Trump is going to win the next election in a landslide. So all of these, you know, guys that are going so far to the left, you know, they can't get to the left fast enough. It's going to be another McGovern route, you know, and no matter who they
dream on, Phil.
Yeah, no, you guys dream on.
I think
it's going to be a route like you've never seen.
I think what the Democrats need is somebody to the left. I mean, some of these people are trying to go as left as they can at this point, to out-left the next guy.
Right.
But the fact is, the person who is going to win against Trump is going to have to be a person who knows how to be to the left but closer to the middle. In other words, knows how to make people who are not lefties but are in the middle, or maybe even a little to the right, feel comfortable with them.
That's Biden, and he doesn't have a chance. He may be number one.
Well, you said
right
that's
now.
Biden, and then you said he doesn't have a chance. So how is it Biden?
Well, that you describe Biden, and I'm saying that Biden doesn't have a chance. So, so the person that you say is ideal fits the Biden scenario.
Biden's only drawback, in my opinion, to tell you the damn truth, is his age.
And his baggage.
No different than Trump.
Huh? I know.
That's
but,
no different than Trump.
Yeah, but Trump's already president, right? You know, so he can get old in the job. What we're talking about is somebody taking over the job for the first time, and probably at his age, it's going to be very hard for him to go for a second term. Yes, Charlie.
Remember H.W. Bush when he said, "Read my lips, no new taxes," and he did, and he broke that promise?
Yeah.
Well, Trump said, "I'm the only one in the Republicans who will never cut Medicare, who will never cut Social Security, who will never cut Medicaid." And what is his budget for next year? That is what's going to sink him. There's no way he's getting reelected after doing that.
Good point. Yeah.
Bill, he has not done anything for the common man. He has
who
not
makes
done anything.
who presents the budget? Is it
I'll tell you. You know what's going to kill?
Or is it the
you know what's
Congress?
going to kill Trump? Is this year when the middle class gets their tax bill.
I already had to pay more this year.
Yep.
So where was that tax cut?
There was no tax cut for me.
Well, there was, there's some leanings that, they're saying that there's a recession on the thing, but
you sound like Sanders. You're trying to defend him in any way you can.
Now, Rob is about
everybody defended. Everybody I know.
Rob is about as middle American as you can get, and if he's been hurt tax wise, I may even be hurt tax wise. Although I do have an advantage in that I can take off more as a personal deduction than I did before. But still, yes, Kevin.
I have a very basic, no write-off type tax return, and mine had probably about a $700 difference.
What, higher?
No, I got less back.
You got less back, is what you're saying.
So all you guys keep saying. Hold on. You're all saying, I want to pay more taxes. I want to pay more taxes because I want more benefits.
Phil, shut the fuck up.
Phil, you're not addressing the situation. You're making light.
You're making light of it. No, you're not. You're making light of it.
I'm a subchapter S corporation. I get a 20%.
I don't give a shit what you are, Phil. That's not what we're talking about.
Hold it.
That's not what we're talking about.
What are you going to do when you pay your taxes? Well, I'm a subchapter S corporation, and it means that I get a 20% discount right off the top because of
how much? Are you going to pay more taxes this year, Phil?
I don't think so.
Well, I bet you. I bet you do. I bet you.
When do you file? What are you waiting
I just
for?
filed an extension. I wasn't ready.
You filed quarterly.
But we're also talking about the middle class, working class person.
Well,
yeah.
What am I?
Workers. What about your workers?
Yeah,
all those people from Wisconsin.
They're not legal.
How about you? How about you? How about you?
All those people from Pennsylvania and Wisconsin that he promised all these things to. Another promise that he made.
Well, they don't have to worry about it. They don't have jobs.
Let me just ask Brian, and then I want to go to Patrick. Brian, how about your taxes this year? Going to go up? Going to go down?
I'm not getting as much back, but like my tax guy, DMV, all these little things. I think you mentioned it the other night.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff that I used to give him, he's saying after this year, there's no use of giving those. The donations for Goodwill, some of those items that you mentioned before. Yeah, he's saying there's no use. I used to do that like 2 or 3 times a year, donate, and it's just very.
So you're going to be hurt somewhat by this.
Oh, 100%.
Okay. Yep. How about you, Patrick?
Isn't the reason that many of us are getting less back in a refund because we're able to keep more of our money because of withholding adjustments?
That's right.
I mean, to me, that is a positive. And I remember when I was working full-time, I never wanted a refund because that meant that I had too much pulled out for my withholding that the government had versus me being able to spend all year long.
But in the you come out even.
Thank you, Patrick.
Yeah, but well, thank you, Patrick. But Rob, are you
change anything? And I had to pay this year.
Okay, so there's a case where your philosophy is wrong, Patrick.
I know a bunch of people that happened to.
Hey, I'm sure.
Wait a minute. Will you listen? Charlie's talking, Phil. Say it, Charlie. What were you saying? Charlie?
He said he knew a bunch of people.
We didn't hear you because you were interrupted.
What happened to Rob happened to them, where they didn't change any of the deductions or whatever. They didn't change anything, made the same amount of money, and end up owing money.
My brother had to take out 401ks and still wound up paying almost $2,000.
Yep. So and none of that and none of that was like I didn't get as much back as I got before. I'm still getting something back, but it's less. So that's what you were saying, Patrick, and that isn't the case with a lot of other people.
You should have donated to the Trump Foundation.
How about you, Kevin? How about you, Kevin? You have the same problem?
Yeah, and I made more donations this year, and that kind of offset some of the stuff, but it still would have been ugly if I didn't make those donations.
Well, this is the first year that I had to take the $24,000. I couldn't use my mortgage. It didn't make it with all the money I pay in the mortgage. Nothing I could deduct, even my home office and all that, didn't equal the $24,000 deduction, the standard deduction. So it makes taxes easy, but it takes away my ability to get any money back.
Well, also what they did is they lowered the tax rate, but on the other hand, they did away with a lot of the things you used to be able to take off, so that in the long run, people wound up paying more than they had paid in previous years.
So you like all the loopholes? You like the loopholes that are there for the rich?
Oh, I love the loopholes.
The
are
rich
also
still have them.
No.
The rich still have
them, and maybe more for all we know.
Yeah,
because by the way, Phil, the tax cut was only about 1 year, 2 years. How many years was it for?
2 years.
2 years, something like that. And how many was it for the rich?
I thought it was 7 years.
Well, you mean for corporations? The corporations.
Yes, but most of the very wealthy people, most of the wealthy people have corporations. And they funnel their money. They pay themselves only what they need.
Yeah, he's right about that.
Because I know I had a corporation.
But you can only leave so much money in a corporation.
Hold on a second. Phil, shut up. I know what I'm talking about because I used to do it. No, you don't. Not like I do. I had a corporation, and really what it was left pocket, right pocket. When I needed money, I took it from the corporation. But when I didn't, we left it in the corporation because that way I still had more money.
So you commingle the money, which pierces the veil of the corporation. You know, you if you pierce the corporate veil,
goddamn
no
right, and every inch of it was legal.
Yeah. Who told you that?
My CPA, who so far is not in jail, and he's in his 80s. Okay.
Yeah, but he's being investigated.
Your fixer.
My fixer.
See what that did for Michael Cohen.
Yeah. But I mean, all I'm saying is that people, when they suddenly, the average American sees how they get hit, why am I not getting, even if they say I'm not getting back what I used to because they got to keep more of it, the fact of the matter is they're still going to look at that as something bad, not something good. And
they look past their nose.
He's hanging on this wall as a promise that he made, but he made a promise to everybody that he was going to have better, cheaper health care.
And McCain made sure that didn't happen.
That's
no,
just
they never had nothing. They had nothing to replace it with. They forgot the replacement part.
McCain did what he did because it was repeal with no replace. That's the only reason McCain did that.
Yeah. Yes, Patrick.
One of the things that the Republicans, and I don't know why, it's almost as if my side, and not Republican, but just the right, seem to be completely blinded. We never put out a plan that countered Obamacare. When Obama introduced it, when Obama implemented it, when Trump got elected, we never provided something that showed that we could do better, and we still haven't. All that we did was try to repeal it, replace, but the replace was never given what was going to replace it. And I shake my head when I watch Fox News or hear friends of mine talking about it, because we never gave a different option. Our option was, well, we're going to get rid of Obamacare. Okay, well, what are you going to replace it with? We're going to get rid of it. Right, but what are you going to replace it with? We're going to get rid of it. I understand. Get rid of it.
Don't you think that they would go back to the old way?
That's not better.
That didn't work.
It had worked for years, but the problem was that you didn't have transparency in the old programs where you could shop. When you give something away for free, people use it.
I wasn't aware Obamacare was free.
There's nothing free about it.
It was free for all of those that couldn't pay.
What do you think it is now?
There's a subsidy. Obamacare is a subsidy.
Yeah, but it never was completely free.
Stop.
Yes,
Obama,
but it was a government
Phil,
subsidy.
can I say this? The reason Obamacare wasn't as good as it could have been is because of you fucking Republicans who would have stonewalled him if he tried to get anything meaningful, more meaningful in there.
I don't think so.
Listen,
Nancy Pelosi
shut up. Let me finish. Really, you keep interrupting, and I'm trying. I had a thought here. Phil, stop it. Okay.
Right.
The fact of the matter is that now I forgot what I was going to say. That
you were saying the Republicans didn't.
The Republicans would never have allowed him to pass anything that even approached a meaningful system of medicine that would take care of people who needed it. And,
Patrick, can I just answer this?
No, you can't. Yes, Patrick.
and
Go to your room, Phil.
Got to add in was the Republicans had control of the House and the Senate for 2 years and could have passed anything. I mean, I looked at our state, my state, Wisconsin, when the Republicans had the governor, the Assembly, and the Senate. We put through everything that we wanted on my side because we had the majority. And that could have been Trump and the majority in the Congress 2 years ago. But nobody was doing it. And McCain's not the problem. It's the entire Republican Party that they fucked it up for themselves.
Now you're agreeing with him, Rob.
I completely agree with you, and I want you to answer this question. Do you think the Republicans really want to do something about health care?
No.
Or
honestly, I don't think so. I think the Republicans at this point, it's tit for tat. That all anything seems to be. I do believe Republicans, when Obamacare was introduced, I believe the brand Republicans then did, but nobody knew how to go about it because they weren't in the majority. But and when I say didn't know how to go about it, nobody could articulate anything.
Mm-hmm.
There was no plan that was given as a counter. And if there was, and it was, kind of backbench, they could have brought something that looked reasonable up 2 years ago and resurrected it as a possible replacement. We never did that. So no, I don't think they want to do anything. I think we're pissed because we lost the House. So now we're just gonna fuck around like we've had, like we did all through Obama's years. And it's the same on both sides, but
yeah.
No,
but they
it's
didn't.
at the time that you need to throw all of those bums out.
But
this is the problem.
But Phil, you got to admit, at least the Democrats, you may not like Obamacare, they got through what they could get through. And the Republican side didn't want to help.
It was health care. It was health care. Hold on a second. It was health care. It was health care with compromise.
Nobody knew what was in the plan. Pelosi said, just pay. You don't have to read it. Just pass it. Nobody knew what was in the thing.
Well, Brian, you haven't.
If you want to keep your doctor, you can keep him. If you want to keep your plan, you can keep it. It was one lie after another.
Brian's been very quiet. Any comment on any of this?
No. I just think with a lot of these things, it's even if Trump gets out of office, it's going to take a while just to get back to norm, which is probably one of the hardest things, with EPA and with school systems, with everything that he's trying to just get rid of just because of Obama. So,
yeah. If Obama liked it, he wants it done away with. Yeah. Yes, Patrick.
Yeah, and Phil, I would encourage you to look back at my state and what we did from 2010 all the way until this last election. There was a list of 41 things, I believe, that the Republicans and conservatives in Wisconsin wanted done. And Scott Walker and the Assembly and the Senate got, I think it was like 38 out of the 41 done in an 8-year period. That's what we controlled everything. And the Republicans have no excuse the last 2 years on why they couldn't have at least introduced something in health care.
I agree. They have no excuse why they shouldn't have done it.
Charlie has his hand up. Charlie has his hand up.
The lie that the Republicans have fostered this whole time during Obamacare was that you couldn't guarantee to keep your doctor under the old system. I don't know how many times I had to change my doctor because our insurance company changed their network and my doctor was no longer in it. So there was no guarantee before Obamacare that you got to keep your doctor.
Yeah.
Well, he said there was in the new plan.
He was merely saying that didn't change is what he was trying to say. He wasn't saying.
So he perpetrated another lie.
Who?
He just misspoke. There's a difference. Trump lies. He doesn't misspeak. He actually lies.
Yeah. Okay, Charlie. You know, the last time the Senate the last time the Congress got anything done was who was the guy from Georgia that came in? Was it in
Carter
under Reagan? Who was the
under
who was the
Reagan? We got
Georgia
stuff
who was
done
the
under.
speaker?
We got stuff done under Reagan.
No, he was the Speaker of the House from Georgia.
Can I say?
Well, yeah, Tony.
Newt Gingrich?
You know the guy.
Talking about Newt Gingrich?
Newt Gingrich. He had a 100-point plan, and he got those things accomplished.
Yes,
You know?
Tony.
We haven't had a Congress that has done anything since then.
This is a follow-up to what Charlie just said, and I can ask this to Phil. Phil, don't you think this is a problem where Charlie has to switch doctors? These doctors should take all the insurance.
No, I don't think so, because the last doctor took 6 of his toes.
No, but I mean,
You see, you can't answer it, Phil. You don't answer a question. You don't answer a question. You make a joke rather than answer.
We don't take that. That's not fair.
In lieu of answering a question, you say a joke, Phil.
What's the difference?
There is a big
You don't
difference
like
because you're not
comedians?
answering the question. He had a logical question to ask you.
Yeah,
You didn't answer.
Charlie shouldn't have to change his doctors numerous times for me. These doctors should take all forms of insurance. Why? Because it's too much money. We don't want this one because we don't make as
You
enough.
can change your insurance company.
No, but if you work for
the
a
doctor
doctor,
can opt into that
No,
system.
I can't change my employer.
I'm going to tell my
Right.
Well,
I didn't have any say in that at all.
That's your employer's fault. You know,
And that was going on a lot.
This
too.
is what's
There was a
wrong with
lot
insurance.
of doctors dropping insurances all over the place before
because they don't make enough.
before
With
and
Hey,
during
listen,
the
I got to
public.
tell you. I know doctors now who don't even take insurance. You know, they don't take Medicare, but they don't take insurance. They say
They all
you
bitch
pay,
about it.
you
Takes too
pay,
long to
you
get paid.
pay, and you go collect from your insurance company what you can collect. But here's what's costing you.
Yep.
And
So what do you do then? You
I-
got to go to the insurance.
because when you I asked my doctor once, I had a gastroenterologist, and we were just talking about getting paid. I said, who pays faster, Medicare or the insurance companies? He said, oh, Medicare.
Yeah.
He says,
which
I,
is
socially
that-
I put in a thing to Medicare, and within 3 weeks, it's in my account. He said, the insurance companies, it'll take 6 months of battling with them before we might ever see the money.
Yep. Yep.
So,
Medicare
they'll
for
say
all.
that this code
Medicare
isn't the
for all.
right code, or this code's not covered.
But that's the problem, though, Phil. They should be accepting.
So do you
Charlie's-
think it's going to be any better if the government doles out your medical care?
Medicare for
They don't
Medicare.
even want to take
Oh,
money.
yeah.
Phil,
so-
I got to
so,
tell you,
how
Phil,
many
Phil,
trillions
listen to
is
me.
Medicare
Read
for
my
all gonna
lips,
cost?
Phil. Read my
I
lips.
don't know, maybe
It's
one
insane.
ICBM.
Read my lips. There is nothing wrong with Medicare.
Yeah, I'll tell
Medicare.
you
Wait a
what's
minute. Let me
wrong.
look. Can I finish what I'm saying, Phil?
I'll let you. Yes.
Um,
You were at the. There's nothing wrong.
There's
with
nothing wrong with
Medicare
Medicare. Once you get on Medicare, you're going to see there's nothing wrong with Medicare either. Though by
Yeah.
the time your Republicans get finished with it, there might be. But right now, it's still pretty goddamn good. Okay.
Yes,
And
and
I would
Hey,
never go back.
I've been paying for Medicare for an awfully long time.
yes, that's right.
The problem with Medicare for all is that when you give these,
Phil,
when you give an entitlement
Phil,
like that, to,
it's not an entitlement.
it's not for us because we paid
It's
for it.
not an entitlement, Phil.
You'll be getting it for
It's
free too, then.
in your case, it's an earned benefit. Okay.
Right.
All right. But wait a minute. Let me finish here, Phil.
In Medicare for all.
The fact is, on Medicare for all, it's the same as almost every other country, every other industrialized nation has, and it's what's called single payer.
And you know why?
When you let me
Oh, I thought you did finish.
No, you waited for me to pause and take a breath, and then you jumped in.
It's like
all right.
Jesus, you're driving me crazy tonight, Phil. The fact is that there are virtually every industrialized nation in the world has some form of single-payer health care, and somehow they're still around, and they're not broke, and people are getting their medical help, and they're getting good medical help. Just ask the people up in Canada as an example. The fact is that the only two countries in the world of industrialized nations that don't have single-payer health care are the United States and China. Okay. Patrick.
Are you
Patrick.
ready? Can
No,
I say
Patrick
something?
had his hand up.
I know he had his hand up, but I wasn't done debating you.
No, you weren't done interrupting me.
Yeah, well, I was waiting for you not to take a breath or to stop breathing. I understand Patrick wants to say something. Now I forgot what I was going to say. I know what I was going to say. You know why Medicare won't work for all in this country?
Mm-hmm.
Because in the countries that it works, those people are healthy. If you look at
They're healthy because they have insurance.
They're healthy because
they're healthy because they have a healthy lifestyle.
Phil, they're healthy. They're healthy because they go to the doctor and get constantly.
In this country, we're all obese.
I call bullshit here.
They got McDonald's.
Okay,
I call
hold on a
bullshit
second. Hold on.
because we have a government and we've got lobbying groups that don't outlaw things that we shouldn't have in our environment.
You mean like Coca-Cola?
Well, pesticides. I just read an article that says that the amount of pesticides in strawberries and in broccoli and things that have been outlawed in other countries because of our lobbyists here and all the money that should be out of politics that's in politics, all this stuff. Oh, Europe has outlawed this and Europe has outlawed that, but not us.
And let's deregulate it some more.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with deregulation.
Let's just bring out some more coal so we can get some more lung disease.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many cancer-causing agents that we do nothing about.
You know what I love about Donald Trump is he wants to build a wall where actually the more common thought in his thinking is a moat. I mean, he's thinking in terms of really old-fashioned stuff. Oh, and we got to save coal. Coal is old energy, okay? There is no place for it in a new society with new science. That we can take care of it in other ways, and we don't need fucking coal. And more than that, we don't need those poor people having to go down in those mines and getting black lung disease.
Beautiful.
We need a bridge to those new
What were you going to say, Kevin? What were you saying?
Beautiful,
Patrick had his hand up earlier.
There is no such thing as clean coal. There's no such thing. Coal is dirty.
It's
nasty. I got it in my stocking.
Yeah, you got it in your stocking.
Technologies from the 1800s.
Yeah, but I mean, why are we building a wall? That's like what they did in China. They built a big one once, and it's the Mongols still came in.
What the hell's that?
I
don't know. It's something. It's coming out of Kevin.
It's Trump.
That's why Mexico's going to pay for it.
I'm not going to pay for that wall.
That must be Alec Baldwin. That's got to be Alec Baldwin.
Yeah.
Got any message for the former president of Mexico?
Yeah, get your money ready because you're going to pay for the wall.
Okay, all right, Kevin.
Patrick had his hand up before I had to answer.
Who had his hand up?
Patrick had his hand up
yes,
before
Patrick.
I asked it back.
Again, and I know I've said this before, and it's just me being a broken record. I'd be more than happy to pay for some sort of universal health care if we weren't paying for fucking sports stadiums, and I'm paying for now.
Oh, listen, I agree with you. I don't think that any community should buy a sports stadium for a sports team. Sports team does that, is a money-making proposition, and they should buy their own fucking, you know, a stadium.
We've got 2 in Milwaukee we're dealing with now. And the other thing that is pissing me off in my state with the new governor is we're looking at raising our gas tax by about 25 cents.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be paying almost 40 cents a gallon on taxes. And then I heard the federal government looking at raising the gas tax.
Yeah.
I mean, fuck that. So that's why you'll never hear me go all out for universal health care. I'm paying enough in taxes for horse shit that I can't afford to pay.
Hey, listen,
more.
you want to know about more horse shit you're paying taxes for? Try the military. You're
Yes.
51 cents out of your dollar is going to
exactly
going to the military, when the second largest percentage that goes out anywhere in the world is, I think, Britain at something like 10%. Okay.
It's because we're protecting them.
Oh, bullshit! How much do we destroy in weapons because they get old and they need to be destroyed?
Absolutely.
How much do we destroy?
That's why we try to find a war somewhere so we can blow them like we did in the Gulf War, so that we can blow up all the old munitions so we can build the new ones.
No, that's why we want to become friends with North Korea so we can sell them.
Our defense budget doesn't pay the troops.
Oh, by the way, did you see that your boy today? Your boy today said he wants to have no sanctions, no trade sanctions against North Korea.
Yeah, he lifted the sanctions.
Yeah, well, there's another asshole move on his part.
I don't know why he did it, but
he's an asshole.
Because he's an asshole, Phil. Because he's losing his fucking mind. Yes, Patrick's doing the blowjob pantomime.
He loves dictators.
All right. I mean, Kim got to get it off somehow.
You know, I mean,
51 cents. Did you say 51 cents of every?
That was a few years ago. I heard that was the amount of every tax dollar.
Knock that down to 30 cents, and you could pay for health care for everybody.
That's right. That's right. You know, if you use more efficient methods of the military as well,
destroy more weapons every year.
Most of it is salaries.
Stop sports stadiums. Fuck the military. Stop.
Yeah, well,
that's different. That's not federal money, though.
We figured out tonight several places you could get the money for universal health care. You know,
he's taking money from the military, and you should like that just to pay for the wall.
We don't need the wall. Most Americans believe we don't need the wall.
Oh, you believe we don't need the wall.
Most Americans believe we don't need the wall.
Yeah. There's a lot of guys at Trump rallies that like it.
Well, yeah, there's 12 of them.
Anyway,
universal health care costs less.
Thank God, there's the theme. Oh boy!
Are you done breathing yet?
No, I'll be taking a breath after this is all over. Somebody wrote me. Candace Higgins wrote me and said, "I feel sorry for you tonight, Alex."
Well, that's because you damn losers.
Phil, why don't you shut up so I can close? Why don't you shut up so I can close the show off? Will you?
All right.
Thanks, Phil Meyer.
You're welcome.
Thanks,
Alex
Rob
Bennett.
Alfano. Thanks to Patrick and to Brian. Call us again, okay? You know, the more you do this, the more you learn how to jump in and be part of it, you know?
No, I like the banter, too.
Yeah. Charlie Wallace, always terrific. Tony, glad to see you could get away from your mother long enough to sit there for a while. And Kevin, I hope by next week they'll be turning that machine on inside of you.
Yeah, by Tuesday I should be zapping.
Okay, well, maybe we can talk about it at that time. And in the meantime, I think all of you should give a big wave goodbye to our audience, and I'll wave goodbye to you. That's our citizens panel, folks. That's how they roll. Oh man, that was an exhausting evening for yours truly. but I got through it, and I'm pretty pretty good, pretty good. Anyway, next is Jack Bishop, The Intersection, and then we'll be back again on Tuesday. Hopefully right after Damian Chaplin's Exchange at 9:30. We'll be here at 10 o'clock Eastern Time, same station in life. And in the meantime, as always, if you see her, tell her I love her, okay? Bye-bye, everybody.